Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Today is Monday the 25th. It's time for the Office Hours webinar. I'm Scott Olson. I'll be your marketing director today, bringing you into the webinar. Your host is Jamie Hodge, our Director of Education. Also participating in the chat will be Barry Einerson if he's available. He's our trading room moderator. And Steve Gomez may participate in the webinar and in the chat as well. He's a new hire to join the Trade Ideas team. Before we get started, I have a couple quick questions for you. First, I'll start out with a relatively new one. Those of you who attend these webinars know we usually start out with some questions. It's an interesting one for you. What kind of trading day did you find today? Everyone can participate in this one. Was it easy to hard? Was it easy, medium, difficult, hard? Just go ahead and let us know what you thought, and I'll leave this open long enough for most of you to vote, and then I'll have a follow-up question or two for everyone before we get started. Looks like about half of you had a chance to vote. It's okay if you don't have an opinion, but I'll leave this open for a few more seconds. Yeah, it's understandable. Not everyone traded today. All right, it looks like a majority have voted. And it looks to be clustering around the difficult to medium area for most of you, which may or may not be surprising, depending on what you felt about the day. This one is for everybody also. Are you currently an active Trade Ideas subscriber? Do you currently have an active subscription? This kind of question helps us know who's attending each of our webinars every week. And that way we know what to schedule, what to present, what we should be concentrating on. QA webinars and the office hours and Jamie's trading room are generally mostly existing subscribers looking to get the most out of Trade Ideas and learn more. We also welcome non-subscribers and those of you who are not currently subscribing to Trade Ideas, stick around to the end of the presentation. We'll have something special for you. So this is good. A lot of active subscribers here today. Jamie will have some interesting things for you. And the final question, if you are a subscriber, do you currently have the AI OddsMaker license? It's a one-time license purchase, and it is the key to get into our higher level functions that are based on OddsMaker technology but has evolved into the AI, or artificial intelligence, Holly. It's really been an exciting development to watch happen, and she's almost out of beta and coming to official release very soon. And if those of you who do not currently have access to the AI and OddsMaker, again, stick around. We will have a special for you at the end of the webinar. So Jamie, it looks like it's about 71% of the current subscribers in the room do currently have the AI, and almost 30% don't. So I'll go ahead and make sure that you're unmuted there, Jamie, and I will turn it over to you. I think you have yourself muted.
I should be unmuted now.
You are. Now share your screen, and we're rolling.
All right, very good. All right, first off, just want to thank everybody for attending today. If those stats are, anything, well, the stats that Scott just rattled off there about most of you are AI subscribers already, well, then you should be pretty happy if you're watching Holly today and hopefully taking some trades. And the end result was hopefully that bolstered your profits for the day, or it could have been all of your profits for all practical reasons. So before we get started, just want to do a little, get the legal out of the way here. Just want to make sure that everybody is aware that we here at Trade Ideas are not registered investment advisors. We are a publisher, so everything that we share with you today here, please do not misconstrue that as advice to buy or sell anything. It is for educational purposes only. All right, so what's in the hopper today? Well, obviously we're going to be talking about Holly today because, those of you who have been in beta with us this entire period or heard us talk about what was coming down the pipeline, the main ideology behind Holly was the statistical probability and how powerful that is. And, as with any product that is new, like the AI channel and Holly, there's a little bit of fine tweaking that has to be done. And not saying that we are there completely yet. There's still a lot more fine tuning to do. But just with the fine tuning that we've done of late, man, today was, I tell you, we started the week off with a bang, to say the least. So we're going to be reviewing the action of the AI channel today, and we're also going to be talking about some of the trades that closed out as losers, how if we go back and examine those, we can do what we call trading around some of the AI trades. And it's not just losers, it's winners and losers. So we'll be discussing that as well. So before we get started, I just want to take the opportunity to introduce Steve Gomez to everyone. He's a recent addition to the TI team. He brings with him a tremendous amount of experience. I don't want to date us here, but he has been actively involved in the market since the 90s as well. So I'm going to pause here for a minute, let Steve introduce himself, and then we'll get rolling.
Hello, everybody. You got me on good audio there, Jamie?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, hello, everybody. Thanks. It's great to be here. Starting in 2016, I joined the Trade Ideas team. I have known Dan Merkin, Brad since the late 90s, and also Jamie, for that matter, late 90s as well. One of the things that is interesting is when Dan and Phil first started to create this platform, they came to me and asked me as an active trader, what alerts would you like to see, Steve? I mean, tell us exactly what you'd like to see that you're just not seeing out there currently in other platforms that are available to you. I gave them a couple of gap up and gap down scenarios with a little twist here and there, and sure enough, they came back with it, and it was one of the original alerts that are still in there today. And that being said, I'm proud to say that if you go into the Trade Ideas back office, you'll see that Steve Gomez is user number 3. So out of thousands and thousands of users, that's how long I've been associated with this product. And I've watched this product evolve from what it was in 2003 to what it is today. And boy, I'm getting real excited, especially after a day like today, watching the artificial intelligence and what the guys have done to build on top of the existing architecture to create what I don't think anybody else can create out there right now, given the history and the architecture that this program is built on. If you don't know my name, Steve Gomez, I'm also on Twitter at TodayTrader. I've been active in the social media community for a long time. A partner of mine, Andy Linloff, and I actually used to run a desktop trading group subscription where you could come in and watch the desktop trading and have access, similar to what Trade Ideas is now offering with Barry, who's doing a superb job in the trading room. And so, like Jamie said, I was a perfect fit for Trade Ideas. Dan and Brad and myself discussed it, and it was a great move to come on over and help them take this this product to the next level, which is going to be basically shining around the artificial intelligence. I've seen a lot of things over the years. I've seen a lot of products that claim to do a lot of things, but I've not seen something like this come along, and that's one of the reasons I joined the team. So I'm here to help Jamie with the webinars. I'm also doing some tutorials. We're bursting at the seams with growth and trying to keep up with the new subscribers coming in. So that's my function here, and I'm very happy to be a part of the Trade Ideas group, and I'll turn it back over to you, Jamie. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you very much, Steve. All right, everyone. Moving right along. Let me get the right screen up here. Okay. So, needless to say, those of you who are currently AS subscribers were treated to quite a show today. So we're going to be getting into the details here. But just backtracking a little bit, with myself, with the addition of Steve, we fold in Dan Merkin, Brad Williams. So between us four, we're pushing right at 100 years of experience. If you lump us all into the same box. So just keep that in mind moving forward. Trade Ideas designed by traders for traders. Back in the latter part of 2002 is when we first came online. So what you're witnessing here is all the forces of nature combining at once. And what you see on the screen here is a result of that. So it's always good to see that thing, these things actually manifest themselves into a usable product that not only we use on a daily basis, but that we make available to anyone in the trading community that is looking for a dynamic tool of this nature. So before we get started, just want to point out the charts that I have up here. This one up here that resides on the left is going to be the daily. We've got a 5-minute candlestick here for looking at the intraday plays as well. So looking at my market indicators today, we can see that the market was pretty much, let me squeeze this together a little bit. So we had pre-market here, prior close from Friday, downward cycle, and of course we see that this is the action that played out, for the rest of the day. So, looking at the fact that we opened a little bit lower, that wasn't a huge gap down here. But it was the ocean and the motion, the motion and the ocean today that prompted everybody to answer that survey question of, in your opinion, how was the trading day today? And it was, medium to moderately difficult. Very rarely, if not never, do you ever hear anybody go, oh, it was such an easy day. It was an easy day. I mean, maybe every blue moon, right? But not very often. Unfortunately, you do hear people at the opposite end of that spectrum. Oh, it was an incredibly difficult day. And then, of course, the majority of the people are going to fall into moderately to, hard as far as difficulty levels go. So, not really the story if you're watching Holly. And just, just to recap, before we go into the trades here, what you're seeing here is, not from a numerical standpoint and a programming standpoint, you could say that is digital magic, all right? But the magic is in the code, and the magic is in the way that we archive the data that's been there forever, but we simply rearrange it into something that actually makes a lot more sense. So, since we're on the topic of statistical probability, and that's what made these results possible today, in a market where in the beginning here, we go down, then we get put in tops again, then we go down, then we try to come back up to the top. So during this first hour, even down to right here, nobody ever knows what is going to happen. But of course, Holly was singing a different tune. It was just piling into shorts pretty close, off of the open today. I think our first trade came along about 15 minutes into the open.
Yes.
Yeah, so, the statistical magic was already doing its behind-the-scenes work. And so about 15 minutes after the open is when Holly started adding the short positions. So just from an overall viewpoint today, we can see the strategies that made the what we refer to as the quantitative combine, of which approximately 40 strategies are vying for position each and every session before the open, and only the ones that make the grade or that make the point cut on our scoring system are the ones that are present for the next day's trading. So, here today we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 strategies loaded up in the hopper for today's action, 5 of which were short, and short was the way to be today. Now, the amazing thing to point out before we start looking at some of these, the individual trade blotter that was, shows all the trades for today, is looking at the win percentage of each and every one of these strategies today. Here we can see the trade count, resistance is at U over 20, responsible for 14 trades, 16, so forth and so on, just so everybody understands what they're looking at here. Those of you who are already subscribers probably know this, but maybe those of you who are, seeing this for the first time or trying to make a decision, number of trades is right here, and then the success rate today. I mean, this thing just basically blew it out of the water today. 5 trades here, 80% success, 71 on 14, 75 on 16, and 71 on 14 respectively. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is a phenomenal success rate. And, to think that we can sit around and do this statistical analysis on our own, you know, it's just a hardcore known fact that you, me, not even a team of us could be, you know, completing the calculations that it takes to arrive at this point each and every day. So notice that what we've been doing over the course of the past couple of weeks is we're shortening most of the hold times, because from a statistical viewpoint, we're trying to find as much alpha, as many alpha opportunities on any given day as possible. Now, you know, people like to throw that word around these days. What does it really mean? It's potential. Alpha is potential energy, all right? And hopefully, if we're finding that at the right time, that potential energy is unleashed and becomes, you know, what we call kinetic, or, you know, actual motion in the direction that we hope it's going to go. So let's just take a look at the individual trades today. So here's the blotter for all the trades from all strategies. And we can sort by time over here to see, okay, which ones came out first. And you can see right here, first one was 15 minutes after, 6 minutes later, another one 4, and, you know, up until midday, it was pretty busy. And, you know, even if you're trying to monitor these trades on a manual basis, you might have some busy times right here where a couple of trades come out at the same time. But for the most part, a lot of these gaps are pretty tenable, right? Yes, you could have a robot making all these trades, but if you're just watching and interacting with the technology, there should be plenty of time to pull these charts up and make a decision. So we can do one of two things here. We can sort by the winners today, which now we're seeing all the winners at the top, and now we can see all the losers for the day too. So taking into consideration the number of trades, you know, everything's going to have their losers, all right? But obviously today, a lot more winners than losers, and we have got our stop loss functionality working properly, which most of you might have noticed a few times last week. The smart stops weren't triggering properly.
So that's why we're still in beta version.
Absolutely, which, hey, by the way, everybody keeps asking, you know, when are we coming out of beta? Well, I just touched base with the guys earlier today. The target is anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks, all right? So it is getting closer, because software guys don't like to give deadlines. Typically, the response is, it'll be ready when it's ready. The fact that they're giving me actual time frames right now leads me to believe that that's a pretty accurate estimate. So we're going to touch base on what that means to you guys in a little bit later down the timeline here. But that is something that we need to speak about. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, also too, since we're using our stop loss or our proprietary smart stop technology, which is going to basically arrive at a different stop loss for each and every stock based on that stock's characteristics. You know, every stock is different. You know, it's got its own personality. So based on its volatility, how much it typically moves around, and a couple of other bits of secret sauce, that's what the system is using to come up with the stop losses. And, you know, looking at the losses here, which, you know, red is never good, but it's the amount of the stops that it's taking. You know, the biggest loser today was 54 cents. Biggest winner, $1.59. So, you know, whether we're going statistic or whether we're just hacking out manual trades, that's certainly, you know, biggest loser versus biggest winner. When the biggest winner is almost 3 times, that's always a good sign. So you're probably noticing that, of course, everything was pretty much short today. That's where the action was. Now, the big question is, when we were in this part of the market, even down to here, most human traders weren't selling into strength up here. You know, that's just against our nature. But the statistical model, and it was just starting to get short. It's like I'm selling into this strength. Very reminiscent, Steve, of I went back and looked, and that was the 14th, where the situation was very similar, but it was piling into longs that day.
I've got a comment about today, if you'd highlight the daily chart once again. You know, there's a lot of questions. Well, should I be following every trade? Should I be picking and choosing? I just don't know. Let's spread it down a little bit too, so we can really get a good feel for how
Okay, so
strong
these
that bounce
you
was.
daily on this. You want to see daily on the SPY,
Yeah. Let's stretch it down a little bit so we can see, like, stretch the chart down a little bit.
like
With
that.
the chart window. Just pull the chart window down.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see. Other
Let's
stretch.
take a look. Okay, so we had a big wick. We had a big bounce last week, a big bounce on Thursday, and a continued follow through on Friday. Now, if you're coming into the day, you've got your watch list like a lot of people do. I've got some longs lined up. I got some shorts lined up. I'm just not sure where we're going to go here. I mean, we're not drawing channel lines or moving averages here because we try to keep it simple and keep the focus on the AI. But what you had was 3 good green candle days of bounce kind of up into the pocket, which is another word for the higher end of the downward channel. So typically speaking, if you're coming in, with a watch list of stuff and you got some longs and shorts and you're just not quite sure, you're a little tepid about maybe going long because you're trying to stretch, a third into a fourth day of more upside volume in the market we've had lately. It's been a lot of chop, a lot of back and forth, a lot of volatility. Well, when you look down at 9:45 Eastern and you see Holly is lined up with 8 strategies, 3 long and 5 short, all of a sudden the AI starts kicking out a bunch of short, and there's no longs in there. That is a way for you to go to school necessarily on the artificial intelligence, seeing something that you might not be seeing. You might want to go long, your eyes and brain might want to tell you want to take a couple shots off your watch list and go long for a fourth straight day of upside volume and upside bids and movement. But the computer wasn't seeing that. The AI was not seeing that. So once again, it was kind of a tell or a tip of the hand using AI, seeing what you're not seeing, and just saying, geez, this system's smart. We know that. It's not taking any long positions. Maybe I should just scratch my watch list for the longs and focus on my shorts here. So even without taking the trades, you've got another partner alongside with you giving you some cues and some tells as to what the market might be doing in inflection points, especially early in the morning. So that's the second time this has happened in a week and a half. Same thing happened, but to the upside the other day, a week and a half ago. I think Jamie was right on the 14th. Market had a tumultuous overnight, opened up down. We flopped around waiting for our economic data to come out. Sure enough, right at 10 o'clock, the economic data came out. Before I could even, with my eyes and brain, figure out which way we might be going, Holly started buying a bunch of longs, no shorts, just longs. So it was the exact opposite. So my point is here is you can use this as, kind of a strategy partner. Maybe you're not taking the individual trades, but you're getting a good cue and a good understanding to what the AI is thinking in the direction that it's employing what it brought into today. Sure, it brought in a watch list just like you did, but for what it's seeing, it's not going for the longs. And so that was my point. I just wanted to kind of give you another way to use the artificial intelligence sometimes just for general market direction to see what's working and what's not.
Absolutely. It's that little bird in your ear giving you the edge that you need, which, let's focus on that word, edge. No matter who you are, no matter what type of trader that you are, you have, in today's market, and it's been like this for eons, back in the day, and Steve can attest to this, we had an edge when we entered the market in, the mid to late 90s for the trading aspects. What was our edge? And of course, I'm going to be dating myself again here, but our edge was we were using the SOS system for order execution, which back then the markets looked completely different. No ECNs, it was all market makers, and it was a very mechanical way to, in essence, once you figured out the ins and outs of the mechanisms, to shoot fish in a barrel. So our edge was the SOS system. Well, of course, just like any edge that benefits you over time, eventually it goes away. So, here we are today. This right here is your edge. All right. If in a market where it's cycling up right here and it's piling into shorts, that's telling you something. You should be getting short as well, because I'm sure a lot of you do your homework and you come with your lists for the next trading day and all the things you should be keeping an eye on. Hopefully no preconceived notions though, because those are very dangerous. Now, Holly's doing the same thing, except between the combine of strategies that she's incorporating today's data into and then re-optimizing those strategies, she's powering through just shy of 1 million trades an evening. Now, no matter how diligent you, me, or all the people that we know combined are, we could never do that. So once again, just trying to drive home, this is your advantage. This is your professional mentor whispering into your ear on what might happen. And it's backed by the closest thing that we have to the Holy Grail in the market, and that is hardcore statistics. It's not going to be accurate all the time, but it's the best thing that we have. Which brings up a good example here. Now here we're seeing all of the winners today, but let's give a good example of a stock that actually was a loser, which is this guy right here. And it came out about 51 minutes before the market as another short, and it was Calm. So here we can see right here, it called a short in this bar right here at a price of 48.33. Now, as you can see here, it ended up being a 16-cent loser. But myself and a couple other people, that I was keeping in contact with at the trading day, I'm like, hey, look, Calm's going to get stopped out, and of course it did. But then you see, if you go back and look at a lot of the other short trades, the beginning of the pattern looked exactly like this, but then they folded over and worked and did not get stopped out. So the statistics behind this play were strong, but we all know, and if we look at that was power hour short. Power hour short usually runs with a 60.7% success rate. It did perform at 71.4% today, but Calm was one of the ones that didn't work, right? So when I looked at Calm, I'm like, okay, and of course we were in a downdraft in the market. So I'm like, well, the stats were strong on this one, but it got stopped out. So once it put in this little top here, I'm like, or while it was pushing through here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it put a top in. Once I saw this candle forming, I just drew a line straight across here, and you can see I didn't get it exactly. But what I did is I just set a limit alert. I said, okay, when it comes back through, and let me stretch this out a little bit, when it comes back through, if it punches through the low of that candle, I want to be made aware of it, right? So all I did is I right-clicked, and of course, some of this chart function technology right here, I don't know if it's out in the latest beta yet, but all we'll have to do in the future is set that limit alert, and of course the bottom of that candle was 48.47. So it's going to be as easy as this. Create limit alert, put in the proper time. Right now rises, so we'll flip it because it's coming down. Falls to 48.47, let me know. And now I've just set a limit alert in here so that as soon as that area is penetrated, I'll be made aware, and I could put that short on if I'm interested in doing that. So, obviously, yeah, when the trades work, you see on these, not only was the statistical probability very high, and they worked, but the timing was there as well. So pretty much when you're dealing with a statistical model, it's just about the timing. Sometimes the timing isn't exact, and that's the unknown factor sometimes. Steve?
I had a thought. I'm going to back up a little bit. When Jamie was talking about back in the old days of SOS and Instinet and Island and the efficiencies we had, he made a good point. He said you only have an for so long before that edge disappears. And in the last few years before Holly came along, we had the ability to backtest this stuff using our backtester, which we at one time appropriately named OddsMaker. And you'd come across a good strategy only to find out that in a month or so, it didn't work anymore because the market has a funny way of kicking out inefficiencies and constantly evolving. And so that's one of the genius things about the invention of Holly going to work each night, taking in all 35 to 40 strategies we have and making them go through the quantitative combine and resell themselves to the AI engine that, hey, this still is a viable strategy. It's not losing an edge. At some point it might lose an edge, but for now it's still got a hot hand. And so I did want to kick in, as Jamie was talking about, keeping an edge or losing an edge. The AI system is designed to help you keep that edge, because if something's starting to fall apart on the back test, this AI is going to know about it a heck of a lot faster than you would as a human trying to backtest and do your homework at night. So I just wanted to hammer that point home again, that it's constantly scoring these strategies and making sure they're continuing to hold a hot hand before they put them in play.
Right, Steve, and you hit the nail right on the head, because, you know, if we go back to statistics and, for example, the card counting example in the casinos, everybody knows you get caught counting cards at blackjack, they kick you out. You can't ever come back, right? For poker, if you're a Texas Hold'em player, right? I can play statistically perfect, but I can still lose. And that is the luck factor. Some guy gets a card on the river, or, you know, gets that, you know, 1 in 16 hit, and then even though I was the strongest hand, I'm still busted out, and that guy won because of luck. Now, when we're looking at statistical models, you know, we can't really say, I don't know, how could we fold luck in here? You know, there's always a chance that you didn't get the fill. There's always a chance that the stock wasn't shortable. But that's really the only couple of factors that you can really fold in here that would go against you. And of course, everybody can see these stocks that we're trading. They're very liquid. It's not like you're going to have a problem getting the fill. And one thing I'd like to point out, the reason I had COP up here, Conoco, is obviously it was the biggest winner of the day. And this was the entry bar here, 30 minutes into the open. And then our exit bar, since this was an hour-long hold, was right here. But the point I'd like to make is that just because you're in a trade and you see, okay, it's time to get out, you know, if you would have held this trade and put a stop in, you know, slightly above the bar that it said get out, looks like you would have stayed in the trade, and you could have captured all of this as well, depending on the type of trader that you are and how much you like the chart pattern at that specific point in the day. So, you know, what we're trying to do right now is, you know, keep Holly from going from positive to negative, which everybody that's been watching the AI channel has seen that in the past. But since this is, you know, this is your Holly, you can interact when it's time to get out however way you see fit. You know, the bottom line is preserving that profit, making sure that what you have doesn't go away. And then if you can maximize it even further, then that's what we're here to do, right? And that just comes from good old-fashioned chart reading. Okay, so not only did Holly just blow the doors off today, and if we're looking at the point total here, if we want to convert that to basis points, looks like she finished off at 55.69 basis points. And, you know, that's in a down market where the S&P
was down 150 basis points in
a nice big fat loss today. Okay, so at this point in time, I guess it's a good time to open up the floor to any questions that might be floating around out there. Steve, unless you have any other hot points you'd like to hit on right now.
No, other than the fact that the most common questions again is, well, how am I supposed to follow this and take every trade? Well, you can if you want, but you don't have to. There's many different ways to use this as a partner that you're sitting next to. You know, Dan, the CEO, likes to always use the metaphor of Grey's Anatomy, which I never watched, I'm proud to say, but apparently that's a show about a hospital that's a teaching hospital, and a lot of doctors sit around either at the table or up above looking down in the arena on the master surgeon watching and learning. Sometimes the patient doesn't make it, and that's real life, but nonetheless, using this as kind of a shotgun side buddy to help you navigate the markets is a way a lot of people are using this. And you learn something new every day. I've been watching it for a couple weeks now, and I seem to learn something new every day about how this just ties into the overall strategy of what's going on in the market, or, you know, like I said before, the trade selection or what have you. Like Dan and Jamie said, if you have one stock that, one strategy that was really not doing that well, You can still take a chance on it if you wanted to, and if it was 50 cents down but hasn't stopped out yet, well, you could give it a real tight stop wiggle and trade around it and jump into it and see if you can get a better price than Holly did, because at some point there was something that the AI saw there that was of value to take that trade in the first place. So there's many ways to utilize the benefits of this, and I'm still learning every day as I watch it. I've only been watching it for 3 weeks, and I've been truly amazed.
Right, right, and I'll add to that as well, because the fact that there are this many trades can be a little alarming or be a little off-putting to some people. But when we're looking at the time gaps, in the beginning there were some that came out pretty close to one another, but for the most part, there's plenty of gap in here for you to kind of take a look at the trade, figure it out. It depends on if you're in the live execution mode or not. But as with any new type of technology, I mean, come on, let's face it, we humans, we fight change tooth and nail, even though it is the only constant. Change is the only constant. It's the only thing that you can count on. So embracing a model of this nature, whether you've been trading for years or whether you're new to the markets, everybody's got their preconceived notions of what might happen. But this is the most scientific approach that I've seen thus far that actually is producing the results that people want it to. And I've been in the business since 1992. So this was created because there was nothing out there like it. And did we envision this exact piece of technology when we started making all the pieces that would eventually form the thing known as Holly? No, it was from one development after another, to another, and then the beautiful thing is it all comes together to make this in the end, and this is just the beginning, which leads me to another good point about when is this product exiting beta status and becoming our production model. And so, as I said earlier, I'm actually getting information from the coders now 1 to 2 weeks. They usually don't like to give deadlines, but they've given me 1 to 2 weeks. So what does that mean to you guys out there listening to this right now? Well, to people that already have the AI channel, nothing. But for those of you who might be considering getting on board the AI train, the promotions that we're offering right now will go away in their current form once this goes production. And so in essence right now, Scott, would you like me to go ahead and put the slides up? Is now a good time to talk about the pricing?
Yeah, if you reach that portion, go ahead and
sure.
Go ahead and pop those slides up. So, Jamie already mentioned kind of that we're a software as a service company, and our core subscription is the $99 per month, and that includes everything except for the AI and the odds maker. Had some questions about this in the chat, and I was explaining that to the person in the chat who just signed up to us actually from Warrior Trading, one of the educators that really has found trade ideas to be absolutely invaluable. So the subscription to Trade Ideas gets everything except for what comes from our odds maker backtesting technology, which is where our AI, artificial intelligence, evolved out of, was that server structure. So the core subscription for Trade Ideas is just $99 a month with no contract, and then you can get the annual rate that's $888 per year, and that saves you a bundle over the $99 a month. So it includes all your data, the charting, and very importantly, it includes your hour of one-on-one training. You can just sign up for as soon as you get Trade Ideas. Go to the support section, click on training, sign right up. We'll get you scheduled. Also lets you test the backtesting module of the AI odds maker engine. Now, the AI channel is only available to owners of the license, and that's a one-time $1,100 cost. It lets you find trades that are performing in the market right now. That's what Holly gives you. It also lets you backtest the entire market using the odds maker backtester without any programming, so you can even optimize your own strategies. Now, something we're doing this week for you is we have a promo code that lets you save half off your first month, 20% off your first year, or 25% off the lifetime odds maker license. And you can do that if it's on the next slide there, Jamie. Or those of you who are you're on GoToWebinar, so you can just look at the handouts panel in your GoToWebinar application. You'll see it right there on your desktop. If you look at your panel, you'll see there's a little handouts thing you can click on and select to download the PDF that I have attached. And that has the same information with the codes. So that code, and it is case sensitive, Holly27, HOLLY27, does all that. It takes half off, 20% off your year, or 25% off the AI odds maker license. And it's going to expire at Friday at the end of business, so you're going to want to use it before then. The real exciting package is on the next slide, and that is our combo that lets you, basically gives you the AI, because it saves you $700 instantly. You go to that URL, you can click through it from the PDF that you can download, or you can type it into your browser just as you see it, and it is all capitals for the AI Holly. So it's bit.ly/AI Holly, all in capitals, and that takes you to a page where you can click right through to buy the whole thing for just $12.88. And this is a great way for those of you who are just on the monthly subscription to upgrade into getting the annual savings and the AI. So you can just go ahead and buy this, and then we'll turn off your monthly renewal as soon as you let us know that you did it. So just do this and then email us info@trade-ideas.com, and we'll make sure that you're set up correctly. Again, this $12.88 package will go away when we take Holly out of beta and put her into production. So although there may be a combo at some point in the future, it's absolutely going to be more costly to get on board.
Absolutely, and like Scott said, you're basically in beta right now. So just by prepaying your membership, you're getting the AI channel and the backtester basically for free. That's a good way to look at it.
I just had a question from Susan about, she said she has the AI and is wondering if she's going to be charged again. Not for the AI. The AI is always yours now that you own the license. What you will be up for is the annual renewal, and you're locked into the $888 rate if you took this package. So that if we do raise the annual rate, you're going to be grandfathered in at the $888 rate. So so you don't have to pay for the AI again once you have this. Yeah, no problem, Susan. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us, Jamie and Steve, for the great presentation. Any questions at all, email us. It's the easiest way to get your question routed to the correct person to answer it. And email us to info@trade-ideas.com. And that goes right into our help software and gets routed to the correct person. You can also reach Jamie directly. He's jhodge@trade-ideas.com, and Steve is steve@trade-ideas.com. Thanks, everyone. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. We are facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro, and Twitter is TradeIdeas, and we also have TradeIdeas1. Thanks, everyone. You get a link for this recording in your email with the GoToWebinar follow-up email you'll receive tomorrow. Thanks, all. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks everybody.
All right. Bye. Good afternoon.